All right, welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Ricardo Ramos to defeat Charles Jourdain. Jourdain might have an advantage on the feet, but once Ricardo Ramos gets him to the ground, he's going to control. I'm here to talk about UFC, whatever the fuck, Gamrot versus Fiziev or Fiziev versus Gamrot. I'm going to cover the whole card starting at the top. Uh, Gamrot gets the win over Fiziev via injury. This really sucks. I mean, it sucks when it happens in any fight, but when it's the main event, it really sucks as a fight fan because there's nothing else coming up. Kind of ruins the night, and it's always the most important fight as well. And it sucks for the fighter himself, who Fiziev, I don't know. I'm hoping to see him back within a year, and that's knowing nothing about injuries or even knowing what his injury is. But I know it's his knee, and he seemed pretty fucked up. So that sucks. But it was a great fight. It was an excellent fight for whatever the 5-6 minutes that we had there. I was really excited to see them go 25 minutes. And I thought it would have been a very competitive fight, as the first round was. I scored the first round 10-9 for Fiziev, but it was very close. Gamrot was in his face, and Gamrot was doing what Gamrot should be doing, bringing that pressure in the wrestling, which I thought Fiziev did a great job. I mean, he got taken down twice, but he still overall did a great job defending. But Gamrot definitely wasn't going to slow down, so I know he was following his game plan. It would have been an interesting fight. I didn't learn anything really new from this fight, aside from the fact that Fiziev's knee is pretty fucked up now. That's my takeaway. But Fiziev looked great on the feet. I mean, that guy, I already forgot the height and the reach, but I'm pretty sure he was giving it up. He probably gives it up in most fight, but he is so fucking sharp technically and so sound and so fast that he is just he's leading the dance no matter what the stats. The guy is an incredible striker, just so sound and so tight, and he looked great. And Gamrot looked great as well. Gamrot can throw down. Here was a fight in which he was going to be forced to against one of the better strikers, and I thought Gamrot looked great too. I mean, I thought he lost the first round slightly based on striking, but that guy can bang, and he's durable, very durable, Mateusz Gamrot. And altogether, we were denied a great 5 round fight, I think. And like I said, no real takeaway here. Both guys looked really, really good for 6 minutes, and now Fiziev's knee might be compromised. That's my takeaway, I guess. Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige. I thought this was a very close fight, but I also thought Bryce definitely got the better of him overall, especially mounting him and finding a lot of success down the stretch. But there were some close rounds in this one. I was waiting to hear the decision, but I'm glad Bryce won because, again, overall, he definitely got the better of Dan Ige. And great fight, though. Dan Ige looked as durable as ever in an MMA sense, and he was tested, jiu-jitsu wise here. And I mean, he lost the positional battle, certainly, but he didn't get finished. And Bryce Mitchell, he was tested as well. Ilya Taporia hits a lot harder, I think, than Dan Ige, but Dan Ige busted his face up, swelled his eyes shut, and had a great fight. This was a fight in which both guys found a lot of success, and both guys were tested, and it's just another decision loss for Dan Ige, and a damn close one. But in the end, again, Bryce Mitchell, I thought, got the better of him overall, although there were no 10-8 rounds. But he won the fight, and he won the decision. So great fucking co-main event. That was a really good 15-minute fight. Marina Rodriguez beat Michelle Waterson by TKO. That was a beatdown. Michelle Waterson looked good early on, getting a nice explosive takedown, but she wasn't able to maintain position. Marina Rodriguez got back to her feet and really beat her up. And it wasn't even so much the boxing, although if you go back, I'm sure the boxing is really the main story of her success there, but she beat her up in the clinch using good Muay Thai, elbows, knees, punches, kicks, and just roughed her up on the outside, on the inside, and smashed her face. And then eventually pounced on an opportunity to jump into full mount, which is, I think, where the fight ended. But tough gritty performance from Michelle Waterson. Got the shit kicked out of her and still wanted to keep going. But yeah, she's too old and she's, shown her toughness enough already. And the ref stopped it. And yeah, good stoppage. Great win for Marina Rodriguez. She looked phenomenal and she looked dangerous, but she's looked dangerous in the past before. But, definitely, as most females who weigh 115 pounds naturally are. She's more of a point fighter. Who the fuck isn't? But she's still a dangerous girl, and this was an opportunity for her to get the finish, and she got it and looked phenomenal. So, great win for her. Brian Battle beat AJ Fletcher. This was a great Brian Battle performance, back to his old self, where he's never really dominating the fight till he is. But, he's a great, well-rounded fighter. He's had a lot of success in the UFC. His loss does not look good because he was dominated and whatever, but Rinat Fakhretdinov is not done climbing yet. Neither is Brian Battle, of course. But I think still, Brian Battle, I think he's 5-1 now, and he looks excellent in the UFC. And here he got a finish over AJ Fletcher, first guy to get him out of there, where other guys couldn't, dangerous guys. On top of him, Angelusa and Alosa and Matt Semmelsberger. But Brian Battle may not be, the big, strong physicality guy, but he's got a lot of skills, really well-rounded guy, and he's got a good top game, as he said. And when you're even slightly fatigued and that guy can work from on top, he's probably going to choke you, if not TKO you. But he's really good, really heavy on top. And this was a great win, a good battle. AJ Fletcher looked good early, but fell off a little bit. And, another great Brian Battle victory, back to his old ways instead of his new ways, which are knocking guys out in 10 seconds. Charles Jourdain beat Ricardo Ramos, and this was a really impressive win for Charles Jourdain. I thought he was going to lose on the ground and on his back, and he won with a guillotine choke, which is probably his best submission. I think he's got 5, and 3 of them now coming with guillotine chokes. And they're against 3 good opponents, too. So he's dangerous. And he's definitely always going to be known more as a striker. But he's not bad at all, submission-wise. And Ricardo Ramos was, I think, a little too relaxed and a little too confident in his wrestling, thinking he's going to rip him to the mat again. And Charles Jourdain countered it with a beautiful guillotine, got off to the side and locked that thing up. He said he had one hand. It was a one-arm guillotine. But, he's fucking dangerous, and he got him out of there. Looked really, really good. That was probably my last pick. Generally speaking, there are 6 options for a fight, outcomes, fighter A or fighter B by knockout, TKO, submission, or decision. And Charles Jourdain via submission would have been my last pick probably in this one here. This was, or maybe Ramos by TKO. But either way, this was a pleasant surprise. Charles Jourdain looked really good and got a first-round finish over a dangerous guy, Ricardo Ramos. That brings me to Miles Johns beating Dan Argueta. This was an awesome fight. I thought Miles Johns looked really, really good here, and I thought Dan Argueta looked really, really good. Dan was not winning the wrestling battle like I thought he would. I can't say he lost the pace battle, even though he did lose down the stretch. I thought he was outpointed more easily as the fight went on, but still, he brings the pressure, and that makes for a really good fight. And even if he's fighting someone better than him, makes for a really exciting fight. And that's what this was. This was fun. Miles Johns is dangerous on the feet, and even though he's gotten away from it a little bit as of late, he's a really good wrestler. And he's found success against other good wrestlers throughout his career. Again, I mentioned the Levi Moles victory he had. Here, he shut down Dan Argueta, largely. It was still a very close fight, but I thought he lost 2 rounds. Dan, I can't say, whatever. I guess on paper he faded, but the guy brings the fucking pace and the pressure, and yeah, he's durable as all fuck too. So I'm really impressed with both guys, but Miles Johns surprised me here. Got a solid victory that he had to work for. He wasn't too comfortable, but it was a comfortable decision. He definitely won 2 rounds, but he looked really good and better than I've seen him look in a long time, to be honest. And that brings me to Tim Means, speaking of which, beat Andre Fialho with a third round TKO. Tim Means is 39, probably going to be 40 by the next time he fights, although who knows? He fights pretty frequently. But he's just such an awesome fighter, such a durable guy, and has a great work rate. That did not look like a typical 40-year-old, and he was in a war here. And Fialho is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Again, I forget his record or whatever, but I know 90 whatever percent of his wins are probably by TKO or knockout. And Tim Means went to war with him and really beat him up, and in the end got him out of there in round 3 with every strike in the book. A head kick staggered him, and he got him out of there with a knee, really, in punches. But he beat up Andre Fialho, and it was a fight in which both got. It was fight of the night, by the way, which is awesome, and it was a fucking war. But this was another example of Fialho just not having durability. He has lost 4 times in the last 15 months by TKO, and that alone is going to take away anybody's durability and do some serious damage to him. So he is just, he's got to really strategize if he's even able to. I don't know. I'm sure he has no leverage, and I don't know if he's got a UFC contract, but yeah, he's definitely a guy who's got to worry about his health, So I think, whatever, he's really got to be careful as he possibly can with whatever power he has with his matchmaking. But he got beaten up in the end, and Tim Means looked as good as he's ever looked. This was a really fun fight and a third round finish, a last round finish for the UFC veteran, pushing 40. Fucking nothing better. And I'm glad both guys got a bonus. And you know what? Maybe they'll keep Fialho around. Why not? The guy is just an excellent fighter. He always brings the entertainment, and I don't know. I mean, he is a glass cannon, and the glass has been the story as of late. So maybe it wouldn't be good for him to stick around unless he's fighting Damian Maia again. Not that they ever fought, but whatever. If Damian Maia comes back, but either way, he's definitely got to take some consideration. And Tim Means, he doesn't. Tim Means looks awesome. Again, he's got whatever 50 or so fights, and he's been knocked out once. And the other TKO on his record was an injury from 20 years ago. So the guy, despite being rocked a few times as of late, as I mentioned in the pre-fight video, he's durable. And he outlasted and beat up Andre Fialho here. Looked really good doing it. That brings me to Cody Brundage, who looked really good getting a DQ win over Jacob Malkoun. I actually won money off this. I was betting on Malkoun to win by finish later, in rounds 2 and 3. And Cody Brundage, I threw a sprinkle on for round 1. And I ended up winning like $45 because he won by DQ, which goes with the KO bet. He's not a durable guy, but he was hit with an illegal strike here. I don't know what to tell you. It's a big strike. It's not as pretty and obvious as a fucking knee to the head on the ground, but an elbow from the back there, it does suck. I think he was about to get finished anyway. I think he was definitely going to lose that fight. And again, he took the fight on short notice, and he's fighting a hustler. So I thought he had one shot, and it was early, and that kind of came and went in the first 40 seconds. But still, he was hit with an illegal strike, and he lives to fight another day in the octagon, unless they cut him. But Jacob Malkoun now, I think he's like 3-3 in the UFC. But whatever his record is, he's the most underrated guy with that record. That guy's a really good fighter. And yeah, this sucks. But hey, it is what it is. He elbowed him in the back of the head. So it's a loss. That brings me to Muhammad Usman beating Jake Collier. This was a fun enough fight and kind of a close enough fight as well. I did think Mo was a step ahead. I still thought Jake, barely won round 1, but I did think he won round 1. I thought he had better strikes, more of them anyway. But Muhammad Usman made that round pretty close and really started to beat up Jake and pull ahead as the fight went on, I thought. And I thought Muhammad, even in round 1, it was pretty damn close. And, he was moving well compared to Jake. Not as well. Jake had more movement on his side, but Mo was meeting him with counters and was not thrown off by his movement. And I also thought the eye poke sucked. It, must have affected him and whatever, I'm sure it did, but he was given a lot of time to recover, gave the thumbs up, and went back in there. But yeah, that didn't look good in the moment. That looked pretty serious. I thought the fight was over. But that was the next fight with Cody Brundage. But yeah, this one, he got back in there, and Muhammad Usman just outpointed him, which I think even without the eye poke, I think the fight was trending that way anyway. I thought Mo was going to be pulling ahead, pulling away. But still, Jay Collier, he's a guy, former middleweight, and he's one of those deceptively fast and active heavyweights. So it would have been interesting, if he was able to out hustle Muhammad Usman, but he was not. Muhammad Usman, again, he's got more hustle than it looks like a guy like he should have, guy that's built like him, and he was too much for Jake. Jake, he, no matter what, and he is in shape and whatever, he's not in optimal shape. You can't have that much fat on you and be in optimal shape. He's got that Roy Nelson thing, and he can fight hard for 15 minutes, and I'd like to see you try. But he can definitely fight harder if he was in better shape. It just is what it is. And this was a fight where that kind of showed itself. And also the fact that Muhammad Usman's much more of a sound heavyweight to begin with. It brings me to Mizuki Inoue versus Hannah Goldy. I thought Mizuki won, but I thought Hannah made this pretty interesting. Hannah does have strength, physicality, and she's a well-rounded enough fighter where she found enough success against Mizuki Inoue to make it interesting. And Mizuki, of course, with the long layoff, there were a lot of questions, but she still looked good. I thought she still got the better of Hannah, and clearly, although, it was close enough where I had to wonder about the decision, but she got the nod. She wasn't as dominant as I thought she would look. I thought she would be, better everywhere, and it started off that way, but then Hannah Goldy started to come on in round 2 and ripped her to the mat, and I thought that sucked some of the life out of her. And in the end, it was close enough, but I still thought Mizuki outpointed her, and scratch and clawed for a good enough return win, because this was not, the most impressive performance, but this was one that she just had to get done, coming back after 3 years. So good win for her, and for Hannah Goldy, good effort, but yeah, she was definitely outgunned here, technically. Speaking of which, Montserrat Rendon beat Tamirish Vidal, and I thought she looked great in her debut. It was a close enough fight, but I definitely thought she won. It was a split decision. I did not agree with that. I thought Rendon looked really good in this fight. She was able to do well on the feet, even though she was fighting a faster fighter. I thought she was timing her strikes very well, and she's a naturally bigger girl. And she was also timing Vidal's strikes with counter takedowns, catching kicks and whatever. And I thought she just threw off Vidal. And Vidal was never really sure of how to get the better of her. Tried lacing up a heel hook a few times and whatever, but it seemed like she was outgunned, I thought, throughout this whole fight. And Rendon, now that's 6 wins with 6 decisions. She's not much of a finisher, and I doubt that's going to change here in the UFC, but she's a well-rounded girl, and yeah, she proved it here. She was forced to. She's good everywhere. She didn't look like a dominant force on the feet or even on the ground, but I thought she looked better than Tamirish Vidal and was able to clearly outpoint her. So Vidal, she's not some, long-standing UFC veteran or whatever, but made a splash in her debut. And, yeah, she had a good bit of hype. I think she's still got a bright future, probably a brighter future, to be honest, just considering their age. But I still thought Montserrat Rendon here at 34 in her physical prime and looking really fucking strong. There was a chance she beat too much, and she was a little too much for Tamirish Vidal. Overall, really good. Whatever. It was an event. Would have been really good if we got the main event. But overall, a lot of fun shit. A lot of interesting post-fight speeches and stuff and whatever, too. But in the end, we're left with a shitty fucking main event that ends in injury. And now we have to wait 2 weeks for the next fucking UFC event. definitely leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I had to go through this when Fedor Nogueira had a fucking accidental headbutt at Final Conflict 2004. And it was like, don't worry. The next MMA event is in like 90 days. So you can just rewatch that headbutt. But either way, 2 weeks isn't that long, all things considered. And we will be back for fucking whatever the fuck it is. Grant versus Bobby Green. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit, and check out my other video. And who the fuck is we? Just me. There's a whole team working on this production you see here.